Okay, let me just change the category to life work and then doing the AI intro course week 1. Assignment. Okay. This was stream 37. Just copy this. Let's do stream 39. Finishing. So this is part 2. All right. Here I started to read the monstrosity. Not really, just 2 chapters, but still it will take some time. And it's almost 4 o'clock in next or in 1 hour and 12 minutes. I will have the first meeting, so I will try to be quick with this. The goal is not to read everything, because this is for me. Of course, how I feel about this, if I don't think about it that much further, it feels homework, it feels that I'm doing some course, and this is mandatory exercise. But of course this is not like some course, normal university course or something. So you should have the right kind of attitude. And I will go back to see what was the goal of the question again. Was there any? Okay, you should also jot down a question about the readings. So this is the goal. I have spent yesterday and today to think about my future, doing some self-development, which is much more important than this AI intro course or intro program. So I don't mind doing this very quickly. But the goal is to have that question. I thought that could I create a question right away? The goal is not to have this. Yes. No, maybe without heading. The goal is not have the best question, but rather have some question. This is an exercise for me that I discussed on stream 37. The end that I'm very bad at asking questions or following the right mindset. how I started reading was just too detailed, but also too much without any thought. So that's the goal, to change my habits actually. Let me go and what do I want to get out of this program? So knowledge, sure. Maybe I learned something I didn't know. Networking and this. So focusing and understanding anything. So that I have given a task, and how well am I able to do that. English, working skills, time management priority. Yes, these are very important as well. I have around an hour, but I'm not going to read everything. So really consider this time, this 1 hour, important for my work, not important for this program, that I will use the optimal amount of time for this, so that I get what I want from this program. But this is the goal I would set to myself, to write a question. Right away, do I remember something from this? What is effective altruism? So what question would I have that I wanted an answer to? Open that, and it kind of feels like it should be a question that there's something I didn't understand. Question about the readings. You will discuss with your group. So what could that be? Wait, is it a question you will discuss with your group? So is it something that I want an answer to, or I want to ask others? I guess it can be both. This exercise is for the activity that everyone doesn't just read it through without any thought. So this is to activate the brain, have some interaction. That's very good. I will go through quickly what was here, and maybe I will jot down a question. Future of AI. Effective altruism practice. Next pandemic. Question about this. The numbers kind of surprised me a little bit, or well, I don't know how to think about this. They're quite large. I don't want to read this again. So medical supplies in poor countries. Could I do this? And why not? Give to charities. AI alignment research. Am I interested to know more? because they don't really, they're not my field that I want to focus, that I think is the most important. Non-human animals. So this is about empathy. I don't have that much empathy for animals. Similarly than humans. If humanity was already happy, then I could switch to animals. But I prioritize humans a lot. First them and then animals. Many prioritize animals even more than humans. Decision making. This could be an interesting one. Again, what sort of question would I have? Of course, one question I would have from this is, what are the future plans to develop the intro program? But it's not a question about this material or the contents of this, really. But still, a question is question. Principles. These are very important. Without reading this, could I say all four? Because if I were to talk about or mentioned EA to someone else in the future, can I say those? No. Scope, sensitivity, we are committed to prioritize actions, benefit more lives, okay. Impartiality. Yeah, so not just people who are close. Scout mindset. Yes, okay. Recognition of trade-offs. Yeah, okay. Scout mindset. Is there some of this that yeah, I care about this, of course this, and yeah, everyone. What is the most important? These principles, in my opinion. I guess this, because so many conversations and projects die because the people behind them are not capable of changing their mindsets. So collaboration, partial. This is important, but not that, because it can start from focusing on surrounding people and then expanding. Scope, sensitivity, and this as well. It's of course important to help as many as possible, but if the choice is to help a small amount or not help at all, it's still better to help at least someone. And trade-offs. Here again, if you already do something that's good, then great. but would be good to go for this. So realizing that you don't have time for everything. I still am developing my mind to accept this. So definitely this is most important. These principles are not absolutes and could change. We think they are important and undervalued by society at large. It's trying to find better ways to help participating in effective altruism. And one question of this could be that defines are there any other versions of the principles or more of these, but these are just the most important is their history of this. So about the principles, are there more of them or some other versions? What is the history of them? Because how I base my decisions, my aim in life is through principles, values, and philosophy. Anything I would work or take part in, like helping farm animal lives, I would first try to look for a concrete example and then see the values. What values do I have, and do I understand values someone else has? So expanding on this would be interesting, maybe, or talk more about this. Scientific method. Yeah, scientific method, I like that. Although it is difficult, my working habits are not for science, at least yet. How can you take action? Finding ways to use their existing skills. Yes, it's very, very free. And actually, this question, I would like to hear what others are saying about this as well. I would guess that the facilitator will ask about our opinions, at least at the end of the program, but it wouldn't hurt to maybe talk about that a little bit in the first session as well. I think I have zoomed enough. And footnotes. I think I already got 2 questions at least. Let's move on here, because I doubt that I will read this again. So I have, what, 50 minutes? Not really even that. So intangible. Yeah, there was just examples of things that are very difficult to calculate, but as I pointed out 2 days ago, I do this kind of already, so it's not a new idea for me. Okay, I'm not going to read this aloud because I have no time. Because benefits were soft. Reduce strategic risk. Yes, that's very, very common. That feelings and a lot of concepts are not being made clear what they actually mean. Too polished words, terms are used. It's not easy for human brain to think about this, especially feelings and thoughts. If they are unclear, you can't take action or change them very well. They need to be some way measurable. Possibly be measured, okay. So, by the way, what I could get from this is, it seems this is an issue for some. So, not being able to measure concepts is hard for many, question mark. That's what I get from this. Rational way. So wait, so it's better to leave it vague. If improving customer relationship is considered a core value, or in some cases, decision makers effectively treat this alleged intangible as a must-have, so that the question of the degree to which the intangible matters is never considered in a rational, quantitative way. So it makes it easy that they can just say, yeah, we value improving customer relationships, but it can never be proven wrong that they are not doing this, because some degree they always are. Okay, if I remember that, or if I understood that correctly. I didn't. My mind is already starting to go sleep. Using methods are probably less complicated, more feasible than you might think. The fact of the matter is that all of the previous listed intangibles are not only measurable, but measured by someone. Less complete. Okay. Before going to the next subject, write down those things you believe are immeasurable at least. You're not sure how to measure after it. Okay, I think everything is measurable, so I'm not going to do that. Love everything, yeah. Yeah, I live human life, I can measure that. But I'm interested to hear or read how they do that, if they have a very practical method. With a table less than enormous multiple volume, be sure to leave out something. I didn't read this with thought. It was just some yapping about focusing on the relevant. I didn't mention. Is this really the... Why am I logged in to my Google account? Ah, maybe because of YouTube, okay. Don't conclude that methods relevant to this issue aren't being covered. Yeah. I think it's yapping too much. Thanks, yeah. Next week's assignment I will try to do more properly. Yeah, got the point. That's the most difficult thing, trying to read something or follow something that you think you know, but I might miss some important or interesting things here. That's why I should go over this properly, but I have no time. So it's just making sure that the reader would understand that they are wrong if they think something would be immeasurable. Okay, the pros is about decisions. I'm not even gonna write that. Why do we care about measurements at all? There are just 3 reasons. Where is the method? Oh no, I'm not interested in this. Market value, yes. 3rd perhaps. Okay. So it talks about what will happen. This is so common with me when I think that I don't actually go into the topic and start thinking about it and doing, but I rather think what it would feel like to think when I eventually would think. So it's just preview of that thought that I'm too scared. The brain avoids going there completely. It just wants to have a small peak. When reading this first, business school professor remarked that he thought I had written a book about somewhat esoteric field called decision analysis. It's how measurement people of business comment. Measurement is about supporting decisions, and there are even micro decisions to be made within measurements themselves, considering the following points. Okay, yes, points. Decision makers usually have imperfect information, yes. Best choice for the decision, yes. This decision should be modeled quantitatively because quantitative models have a favorable track record compared to unaided expert judgment. Measurements inform. Rarely a realistic option. Huh? Okay, nothing new there, just how, or I don't know. Is this important? Decision makers. Perfect decisions should be modeled quantitatively. Form uncertain decisions. Yes, very important. I don't know, I do this all the time, so I will skip that. Just I'll just skip that. I didn't read it with thought. In terms of some decision, may not be obvious. Okay. This helps me concentrate. Just yaps about why it's important. I know that already. Okay. I think there might be some takes here that I could take or could be interested of, but in my eyes, it just talks about the same thing over and over again. Wait. Unless someone is planning on selling the information or using it for their own entertainment, they shouldn't care about measuring. Doesn't inform a significant event of some kind. Anything can be measured. Okay. Important after all. Supports the first proposition while the second proposition contradicts the economics of measurements. It's like if some philosophical conversation is not important, it's just hobby. You shouldn't really think about that seriously about it. It's just, yeah, fun. Okay, so what does this oriented information value-driven measurement process look like? This framework happens to be base of the method A called applied information economics. Summarize this approach in the following steps. Okay, now we get the point, I think. Universal approach to measurement. Define the decision, yes. Determine what you know now, yes. Compute the value of additional information. If none, go to step 5. Measure where information value is high. Okay, it's about make a decision and act on it. Sure. Define the goal. Define the problem. And think of it realistically. And feel or seek more information, try to understand it more better, and then start making changes. This is kind of what I do, just in other way of thinking maybe, but let's see, where is the new information? Applied information economics. I'm sure I could improve my working habits by leveraging some of these ideas, but right now it's just basic stuff. Chapters to come, but in short, measure what matters, make better decisions. Yes. There's some more revelations about measurement. Power tools approach to measurement. Most people have the impression that statistics or scientific methods are not accessible tools for practical use in real decisions. Okay. Just trying to convey someone's mind. Change these misconceptions. Yeah, the overall sense I got from this, or I have gotten from this text is it's trying to convey people that are not thinking about this already this way. Just complex. Oh. Oh no. There's a link here. Guide the rest of the book. They're not organized by type of measurement, whereby, for example, you could see the entire process for measuring improved efficiency or quality in one chapter. Thing you need to understand. One way I could do this is by making my own assumption of what this book is about, or these 2 chapters, and then ask if that's the summary. Should I go into more details if I think I already grasped this idea. Do I need to, or this is not good question, so I'm just going to put it in parentheses. See the entire process of measuring improved efficiency or quality in one chapter. To measure any single thing, you need to understand the sequence of steps in process of which you describe sequentially in various chapters. I'm skipping around from chapter to chapter, but I think review of the entire book will help your reader see when they should expect certain topics to be covered. I've grouped the 14 chapters of this book into 4 major parts. Synopsis of the four parts of this book. Part 1, the measurement solution exists. The 3 chapters of the first section, including this chapter, address broadly the claims of immeasurability. Next chapter we explore some interesting examples of measurements, 3 interesting individuals and the approaches they took to solve interesting problems. Okay. Examples come from both ancient. These will address common objects and measurements. Common objections. Preempt many of the objections managers have when considering, okay. Standard college. Keep powerful methods from being attempted in the first place. Set up questions are prerequisites to good measurement and that coincide with steps 1 to set up questions. Okay, I think that could be interesting, but I don't have access to those. Decision, problem, well. Then we estimate the current level of uncertainty about the problem. Next we put those initial estimates, half an hour left, of uncertainty together in a model decision risk. And compute the value of additional information. So, how to measure something, these sequential steps are critical to help us determine what to measure and how much an effort measurement is worth. I would say reading this, it's not a waste of time. It's still kind of does this, that I get the sense of what this book is about, and it kind of validates my knowledge that, okay, someone wrote a book about this and I agree with what they say. So maybe I'm doing something right. And this does kind of activate my brain to think about this measuring. And also, if I face a problem with measuring something, then I might remember, hey, I read that book, or first 2 chapters. Maybe I want to buy the book and read the rest of it. I don't know. Based on what compilation methods contrasts it with other methods. beyond the basics. When the object of measurement is human attitudes and preferences. Next, we'll explore some recent and developing trends in technology that will provide management with entirely new sources of data, such as using social media and advances in personal health and activity monitoring as measurement devices. Okay. These 3 chapters will also round out the reminder of step 4, the issues of step 5, universal approach. And we'll explain some case examples from beginning to end of the entire process and help the reader get started on some other common measurement problems. Builds on Earth, okay. Okay. I read hangover. No, it was hunger. Okay. Right. Chapter 2. An intuitive measurement habit. Here are those Dennis, Enrico, and Emily. Success is a function of persistence and doggedness and the willingness to work hard for 22 minutes to make sense of something that most people would give up on after 30 seconds. Malcolm Gladwell. I don't have much time. I will just quickly see what's the last. It was 7-minute video summary. I think I will do that. Although, maybe it's quicker to just, no, it's 30 minutes. Is this YouTube link? Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. Sure, 7 minutes. I think I will go to this because this might be more interesting. So let me the other mode.
This is Scared Straight. It was a
I don't have the extension. Okay.
government program that received billions of dollars of funding and was made into an award-winning documentary.
And the winner is Scared Straight.
The idea was to take kids who committed crimes, show them life inside jail, and scare them onto the straight and narrow. The only problem? It made kids more likely to commit crimes. This was shown by 3 meta-analyses.
Wait, what?
Billions of dollars of funding, and was made into an award-winning documentary.
And the winner is Scared Straight.
The idea was to take kids who committed crimes, show them life inside jail, and scare them onto the straight and narrow.
I don't understand what he's saying.
Inside jail, and scare them onto the straight and narrow.
Scare them something straight now, okay.
The only problem? It made kids more likely to commit crimes. This was shown by 3 meta-analyses. One study even estimated that every $1 spent on the program caused $200 of harm to society. Now, it turns out that the kids who went through the program did indeed commit fewer crimes afterwards, so everyone involved thought the program was working. But similar kids who didn't go through the program committed even fewer, so the overall effect was to make crime more likely. Hi, I'm Ben from 80,000 Hours. That's our book, and we do research to help people find satisfying careers with positive social impact. One of the questions we're most interested in is the question of what problems to work on. Should we try to reduce juvenile crime or climate change, improve health, education? If lots of approaches to solving these problems just don't work, like scared straight, then it could be easy to end up working on an area where we just don't have much impact. So we teamed up with some academics at Oxford and used research by a $1 billion foundation to come up with an approach you can use to compare different problems you might work on and decide which are highest impact. We came up with 3 key questions to ask yourself, and this video is a quick summary. First question, is the problem big in scale? The BBC, for instance, forgot to ask themselves this question when they took on this problem. How can we keep Britain's lights on? Unplug your mobile phone charger when it's not in use. People recommend lots of ways to save energy like this, so Cambridge physics professor David Mackay decided to put the problem of phone chargers to the test.
My name's David Mackay, I'm a physicist. I started measuring everything. First, I plugged in a phone charger, and it didn't even register on this power meter.
And then another. And another, and another, and another. Finally, a reading of 0.1 watts. From this, he worked out that if no mobile phone chargers were ever left plugged in, ever again, it would save at most 0.01% of Britain's personal energy use. Mackay said it was like trying to bail out the Titanic with a tea strainer. Rather than just put electricity seemed important, if the BBC had done just a basic...
Yeah, that's very, very common, at least in environmentalist world, that big companies pledge to do some policies, try to make the nature better, but the effect is very minimal.
Analysis of the scale of the phone charger problem, they would have realized it just doesn't really matter. Instead, they could have focused on many far more pressing issues, like lack of home insulation. Home insulation cuts personal energy use by about 10%, making it, as an issue, 1,000 times bigger in scale. So the first question to ask yourself is the problem big in scale? And you're probably going to need numbers to help you compare your options, even if they're rough. You can break the question down by asking, if this problem was solved, how many people would be helped? How much would they be helped by? And what would the long-term benefits of solving the problem be?
Yeah, my future plans are quite large in scale. I don't think I can even find any other or any bigger scale help.
Second question, is the problem neglected?
Neglected? Yes.
When I was younger, I was most interested in climate change. Here's a picture of near a rally. Now, I only ended up getting involved with climate change because lots of people were talking about it. I found it interesting. And on the scale of things, it is a pretty big issue. But I didn't even consider other big challenges that might be even more neglected.
I rate the chance of a widespread epidemic far worse than Ebola in my lifetime is well over 50%.
When we looked into it, it seemed like pandemics could be a risk on a similar scale to climate change, but they received under 10% of funding and far less pension. This really matters due to what economic schools diminishing returns. All else equal, the more people working on a problem, the more the best opportunities will get taken anyway, and the harder it will be for you to make an impact. This actually means that the areas that are popular, those that you might actually trouble us, are often even lower impact ones. Instead, ask yourself, is the problem neglected? Is it being unfairly looked? Is it a local or is it local impact? Or just even know because of this, and people localizing the problem, something that we consider.
Yes. So the work that I will do is neglected. I think there could be so many different or more people working on it. At least I haven't seen much progress. I haven't stumbled upon many things that I want to build or find.
Third question, is the problem solved?
Yes. Today's technology is enough. It is solvable, but very slowly, probably. And also, well, yeah, I have talked about how my life work, the target is very personal. I just want something to do also, and I have chosen that. Even though it would be very slow, I would still do it, I think.
There wouldn't have been a film without the fine work that they are doing in an attempt, and I might add an effective attempt.
It turns out this is not recent. Jane Anderson, an expert in evidence-based policy, estimated that of social programs that have been rigorously evaluated, perhaps 75% or more turn out to produce small or no effects, and in some cases negative effects. This actually means that if you pick a social program to work on without looking at the evidence on it, then there's a good chance of just having very little impact. Instead, ask yourself, is the problem solved? Is there an approach to fixing it with rigorous evidence behind it, like how lots of studies show malaria net prevent malaria? Or maybe you can test out a new but promising approach that might be.
Let me take some notes at least. So, first one was, what's the scale? Oop. And then, is the matter neglected. And is it solvable?
Even more effective. Or maybe you know an approach to solving the problem that has a small chance of working, but if it did, would have a massive impact, like research into a key question or a political campaign. However, if the answer to all these 3 questions is no, then it's probably better to find another problem to work on. So that's it. These 3 questions will help you choose between the problems you encounter.
Did
All
I
these 3 questions is no, then it's
write
probably
that
better to find another problem to work on. So that's
correct?
it.
Neglected, yes.
These 3 questions will help you choose between the problems you encounter and avoid working on something ineffective.
And that also could go into my list. Neglected. I don't think I am using that much. So.
You can think of them, scale, neglectedness, and solvability, as 3 dimensions on a graph. You probably won't find opportunities that score brilliantly on all 3, rather look for what does best overall. A problem that's really big and neglected could be worth tackling even if it seems hard to solve. One more thing, there's no point working on a problem in a role that you'll find boring or be bad at. So you also need to consider your chances of success in the area, what we call your personal fit, and it's quite interesting area to check in. We cover it and other important factors elsewhere in the paper. So, what are the world's uncertainties? What are the biggest issues that no one is talking about, possible to solve? Continue on to find out some of our answers by ending their real saving lives well peace. Artificial intelligence is even more important, and what you can do with your own career to help make the most urgent changes.
Okay, I think this was definitely good. Good to have a video here on the program. It's easier to follow. So comment, video was very nice, easy to follow. And I have around 10 minutes before I think I'll take out my laptop, set it up. But yeah, let me read quickly if I find something interesting here. It just talks about the book. In ancient Greece, man estimated circumference Earth. Number of piano tuners. Okay. Size of Earth. I think this is interesting. Another alarm. Be like Fermi. Another person from outside business. Inspire measurements within business. It's Enrico Fermi, physicist who won the Nobel Prize in Physics. Okay, yeah, interesting approach. What's number of piano tuners? They could not possibly know anything about such a quantity. Yeah, but you should try at least. something about it. Okay. Okay. Experiments not just for adults. Emily Rosa. Therapeutic touch. Okay. I think I'm done. So thinking outside the box, I would summarize this. Start from somewhere. Just the second example and go beyond the results was the first one, I think. And the third one was use logic. How could I test this? Okay, that's done. I have around 10 minutes left. So what's my take? Actually, I didn't get to go over the optional reading. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3, 2, 15, 5, 5, 10, 15, 5. Maybe before next time I could go through this. It is interesting and might be beneficial to do this properly, to really understand, okay, what this is all about. Fill it in here. Can I have a new question about this or that? That book, I don't think I have question. Maybe for others. Are there some people here who don't do this actively, don't think this way, but yeah, I don't think I have a question about this. Want to do good. So what's the scale? Is the matter neglected? Is it solvable? It's quite clear what's the meaning behind those questions. I use them even without specifying it before. But I have a question about this. What's the scale? Let's do topic instead. I will end this now.